We received the funding Thursday evening. It took a minute for the township to get it to us, but that's okay. We have it now. It's in Mike's hands. Everything is on order. We're ready for the materials to be delivered. Do we have any questions on the gazebo? No questions? Okay, we will move on. Andy, the pothole in front of the Fast Car drive-through, has that been completed?
No. So I mistakenly quoted you $3,200. The actual quote is $3,441.
3,400.
3,400. So I needed to get your permission to adjust that. So my fault. I was confusing two quotes. So
There's a lot of them.
So there's a lot of them. So is there a recommendation then, or do I have
Yeah, so
permission,
at
or
the
how would
last-
you like to handle
What
this?
was the confusion on the quote?
The last meeting, if you guys read your minutes there, $3,200. It's now 34, so it's just $200 more. We had been getting a lot of quotes, like for instance, the things down at some sewer grates, stuff over at Clevenger. There's been 4 or 5 quotes, and I think
It
he
was
picked the
mine.
wrong one.
I got it confused with another one. So it's 3,400, not
I will
32.
make a motion that we recommend that we approve the $3,400 for the Fast Car repair. Can I have a second?
Okay, so please be specific. It's not for fast car.
Okay, what is
So
it
what
for?
we need to say, it's a pothole on London Street. So I don't want to get that confused because the public's hearing that we're giving money to a business. That's not the case here. It's
Okay.
actually a street repair on South London Street.
I will make a motion that
Okay.
we approve the $3,400 for the street repair on London Street. Can I have a second?
I will second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have that recommendation.
Okay, good deal. We will probably get started in the next couple of weeks, provided weather agrees, but generally speaking, it doesn't require too much in the way of prep work, and work is anticipated probably to last about a day and some change. So not huge, but we will put South London out of service for a little while, which is going to be a big proposition.
Yeah.
So we'll be basically doing traffic control. You'll see traffic backed up. It's a pretty significant repair. It stretches from one side of the street to the other.
Okay.
So we'll do more in advance, of course. We don't just randomly do it, but you guys will know when we get that scheduled.
Thank you. What about the, since we're talking about repairs, what about it? Spring and Jefferson is out for bid. Do we have those bids back yet?
Spring and Jefferson.
The drainage repair, that's a water thing.
That's a Public
Yeah.
Works Commission. No, we don't have those back yet. That goes. Those are water line repairs.
Are
But
the
Yeah.
commissioners involved in that too, Andy?
are the what?
The county commissioners,
No.
are they involved?
No, separate group altogether.
Yeah, that messenger is one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, separate group altogether.
Okay.
Is that something we need to keep track of?
Yes, I think that as council, you most definitely do. That's going to be a $450,000 project. So yes, it has been slow to ramp up because we had to do sewer testing. But anyway, to make a long story short, yeah, it won't start happening probably until what did we say, September, October?
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to do tee up of this project for the fall winter time period. Ironically enough.
Okay. Moving forward with the current project, you were going to check on how many parking spots we could have in the downtown
That
area.
is still an open item, and I wanted to check with our solicitor whether some of this was required or merely suggested. So I'll be back on that as well.
Okay. Okay, you've got the graveling, all under control for June?
Yes, so we've already started doing some graveling as it is for the alleys. We got a complaint, 2 weeks ago, for some alleyway down, which we had done actually last fall. And we did do some fill-in work on that again. I mean, if you use an alley and it's made from crushed stone, it's gonna move around. So we plowed it, of course, over the winter. So that pushed some stuff around and it did create ruts. We filled those in and we'll be doing more over the course of June as well. We do need to get some material. So we're low on material.
Okay. Okay, the only thing else, before we get into the agenda is I wanted to touch on, capital improvement plan. I would like to see us start
Well, that normally starts at a finance meeting.
Right,
Not
the
from-
finance
yeah.
meeting in July.
Mhm. Well, just remember, and I'm not saying this, I guess to pick a fight, but in July is usually when finance starts the budget. Because remember, we have 3 readings before we pass the budget. So just be certain that we're not confusing capital improvement versus with a budget. So finance is gonna have a lot to do, in trying to organize the budget for 2027. Just because remember, we start that usually in July and August.
I understand that, but wouldn't that also be a good time to coincide with the capital improvement plan?
You can if you guys can handle it, if finance can handle, you know, because you only have 1 meeting a month, so try to shove all that into 1 hour. I'm not sure that.
What are your thoughts?
I put together the original one from like 4 years ago.
I remember.
So, we would need to, at a minimum, revisit that and then look to see realistically what could be done on sort of a 2-4 year basis. What's actually practical to put back in there. Some of the stuff that's on that list, I will say that we have gone ahead and purchased, so that's good. On the other hand, it was juggled against priorities that we have right now. So, you know, we didn't necessarily want to buy various pieces of equipment, for example, overhauls of our tractor. We knew that was gonna have to happen, but it got us before we planned it. So,
I think it's worth a look.
yeah, I don't debate. They're generally a good idea.
Okay.
Especially with how much stuff costs and the fact that you oftentimes have to save up for it over multiple years. So,
Do you guys have any questions in regards to the capital improvement plan?
I think I'm gonna wait till we have finance.
Okay, sounds good. So we're gonna move on. Sidewalks. Nathan has done us a great service by going around town and taking pictures all over town of sidewalks that need repair. My email is, I can't even get emails anymore because I'm over capacity. Thank you. I'm printing them out as I get time, and identifying the addresses on the printout so I can start deleting things, okay? Now, I do have some here, as you can see, there are a lot of them. So now, I think what we need to do is probably have Mr. Pitstick join us and, start discussing next steps. I know we don't want to cause a big burden to our residents, but we cannot continue to ignore the really bad sidewalks. Now, there are some that might have some cracks in them with some grass growing up. You know, you can spray some stuff in there and get rid of that. Are those cracks something, I think we need to address? Please join me in this conversation. Well, I'm gonna be worried about grass, that's a nuisance thing. The ones that the people are falling over.
Yeah.
And they are out there, so I think we need to go through, start looking at identifying the worst ones and start targeting them. And when I say target, I mean that in a very kind way to addressing it with the resident, with, just a phone call perhaps. However, the committee or council wants to start, going through it, but we need to start determining next steps on how to address it. Can I have the thoughts of the committee, please?
Before we address it majorly, we gotta get it fixed first. I mean, we got sidewalks back here, around, across the street. Across the street's a tripping hazard.
There's that one side of Sun Mountains like that.
Over there by the memorial. So
Yes.
before we sit there and tell residents that they need to fix theirs, we need to fix our own. That's just my thought.
I've had a lot of people fall. I know Betty Dennison told me she fixed some falls and everybody. And there's so many, it's unlevel, and you'll be walking one, I know myself being unlevel. So, I think we ought to address, the main thing that's always worried me though, that some of the people financially, cement's always expensive. So, and that was something will happen with that. Yes, you can get hurt, that's true, I agree.
I mean, we're not gonna say you have to have this done in 30 days.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
gonna take
we will
time.
work with them and make
It's
sure that they
gonna
have
take
time. Absolutely.
I agree.
We're all about grace.
That's my concern on that.
Absolutely. But I do agree with Nathan that that's a good idea. We should probably address our own violations first. So that being said, I don't know who would wanna talk about this, Courtney or Andy, but can we identify what ours are and get a quote on how much it would cost to get ours fixed?
Sure.
Do we have pictures of those?
Yes.
Okay.
They're one of the
I will find them,
I'll find them.
I will print them off, and I will give them to Courtney, and you guys can determine, who you want to give a quote on them. Is that fair?
We have people, a couple
Yeah,
people.
we have a couple concrete
Mhm.
people who can do the work, yeah.
Okay,
We just need to know where you're thinking.
okay, well, we can identify the ones in the back, the one in front of the gazebo, I think.
Mhm.
That's the only ones I know of.
Okay.
Good point, thank you very much. Okay. I was asked a question today in regards to the street fund. I didn't bring it with me, but it's 360 something, or I don't know the exact dollar amount, but it's over $300,000. And my comment was, most of that money is allocated or budgeted to use somewhere in a project?
So we're talking two different things, so just for, and let me explain. Okay, so when you guys do a budget for 2026, if we're talking just street fund, that fund gets nearly about $80,000, okay? And that is to do, order supplies, materials, repairs, what else? Mower blades, if they are needed, and things like that. So it's just basically like a slush fund for material and repair. So that money has been already allocated for 2026. When I talk about carryover and savings money, there's money in there. So that's why it's always important, and you'll always hear me, is, you know, we budget so close to that dollar amount. And that's why carryover, you'll hear me use that term several times, of saying, hey, we need to keep a savings account. So just like in your guys' personal lives, savings accounts. It's not, they don't get touched often unless needed. So there is carryover money that's in the streets fund. But just remember, as we reserved, or Andy asked council and council approved to reserve repairs to be made down London Street. Okay, so some of that money has already been reserved to do so.
Is that the money that's in that, the cash flow?
Yes. So, to say that there's money there, correct, it's just not allocated. So depending upon what the project would be and what you're asking, you would have to determine, okay, do you have a quote? Like, you know, what are some of the ideas, or what are some of the projects? You'd have to come with a dollar amount.
Are there any more questions for Courtney in regards to the cash balance? Thank you, Courtney. The last thing that I have on the agenda are upcoming projects. Andy, do we have anything upcoming that we need to be apprised of?
No, I would say South London is the main priority at the moment. South London, the work that you just approved, that is probably the top of the list, followed by, once we get more material in, we will be doing more patching. As of right now, we're probably on hold for buying any Durapatch elastomeric compound. We're getting a lot done with our cold patch, and it doesn't make sense to buy both, especially since the elastomeric compound only lasts about a week before it sets up permanently. So we have to choose those projects very carefully before we go buy a couple hundred gallons of hot tar. So that probably won't happen, I would say right now, most likely until July. And that will be targeted at roadway berm improvements around town. So places where the asphalt is cracking off and has, there's a sort of a nibble out of it, that's what we would be using that for. We've been really successful at using the cold patch for other stuff.
But he is working on, so like the comment that I made earlier about reserving money for South London Street, he's working on getting a quote for that.
Yep.
Because that can't be completed by village employees.
Right.
Or
It's too
Cold
big.
Patch or Durapatch.
Yeah, it's too big.
So these have to be professionally cut out and then replaced.
Right. So we owe you that, but generally speaking, we would look to have that professional services work probably done later on in the summer and early fall.
Everybody comes through town, that's one of the first complaints.
Sure.
On, yeah.
Well, and I think that it's important when we start talking about capital improvement is the streets. This is the first year council has agreed to reserve monies for street repairs,
And we.
because we thought the Durapatch machine was
Year.
quite the queen.
Yes.
She's not performing.
What?
Yeah. Cold Patch is now the cost-effective, plan and material-wise. But, you know, on capital improvement, that would probably be a big.
It only
want.
goes so far. I mean, we're talking about patching here, right? So everything we're talking about is patching. We're not talking about paving anything. We're talking about cutting it out and putting it back, or filling it in, or whichever way is best to fill in. So, anytime we're doing that, we're talking about making everything go a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. At some point, we're gonna have to pave,
Absolutely.
right?
It's gotta happen.
What part of South London do you look at here? Go forward, like,
Well, there's divots over here, near the firehouse. That would be one that's technically in London. It's the corner of London and,
Columbus.
Columbus, thank you.
And
So
then it would be past the
then
railroad
there's that
tracks.
one over there, and then there's one by the railroad tracks. So technically north and south and over here.
Well, and you'll see that the sewer grates and stuff, you know, I probably, like most, dodge them and go into the other lane to get around them, or kind of huddle over top of them. So like the sewer grates that you see, you know, the covers and stuff, they've dipped. So sometimes you need to put risers on there, those two, so that you're not going kaplunk and then going over it.
How
So if
about
nobody
big
notices that.
potholes down here at the end of the alley with the post office? Looks like a moon breaker. Up here at the end, as you're walking down that sidewalk, it's right down the sand here.
Oh, I don't know.
I can go take a look.
It's
Yeah.
a great big.
Where is this now?
It's like it's a big.
It
By
must
the
be
po-
down the
by
alley
by
right
the
here.
post
Yeah,
office.
Dorothy knows where it's at too. It's like a moon breaker.
Yeah, I never go down that alley. I'm always going like that
I
direction.
will-
There was a
check
first
that out.
alley
I'm not
down there,
immediately-
and they looked at their tire, and it's deep.
Okay, is it right by the mailbox itself, or where is it?
It's right at the end
It's
of the
right at the
alley.
end of the alley when you turn left or right.
A lot of people
Okay.
knows where, like Courtney said, they avoid it
Okay,
and
all right.
everything. Then.
All right, I'll go check and we'll see if we can't fill that in. I mean,
It's
I don't.
like, maybe they could put gravel in or something.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is that we should at least make sure that it doesn't get worse, so let's figure that out.
And then I want to ask about that other alley, Nathan knows too. Where Nathan lives, there's an alley where that trailer sits, that's turned by Nathan. It needs gravel pulled out.
Yeah, that's probably on the agenda, because we've gotten that part of town gravelled.
Okay.
It's now the opposite side's turn, so,
Okay.
yeah, we did that part last fall.
Cause that one alley, the alley up from where I'm at, they almost
Yep.
need the rat patrol to get up there in jeeps. That's to show you so much the kid.
Okay. All right, that's all of our agenda items. Melanie?
My name's Melanie Fritz, 471 Wingate. I had a couple things I wanted to bring to streets today. First off, Nathan kind of covered it. I agree we should not bring any lawyers involved with getting people's sidewalk fixed until ours are up to par. I just feel like that would open a big can of worms for the public to come back at us, because, you know, if ours isn't fixed, we can't ask them to fix theirs. So I'm glad Nathan touched on that. Thank you so much, Nathan. I wanted to see if anybody has reached out to ODOT concerning the speed limit on 207 towards Mason Park yet. We have kids walking to and from baseball, softball, up and down 207 every single day, and I do not want to wait till a kid gets hit to address this.
They were addressed, I believe it was last year, and they have no interest in changing the speed limit.
Can we
Yeah,
maybe reach out again and, you know, squeaky wheel gets the grease?
I don't know why
Because
we would do that again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem, but, you know, again, you're talking about changing a major state route is the problem, so
right,
it's.
but
yeah.
the 55 starts before Wingate even, and that's 55 coming right up to a
Well,
very.
it does go to 35, so it does go to, there is a switch over.
Right, but, you know, people usually start speeding up a little bit before that. You have lots of traffic in and out of Wingate. But, I mean, that was one of my concerns. I wanted to try to get that accomplished if we can for the safety of the children and the community. And then another thing on Wingate. The south side of Wingate, I'm pretty sure most of you guys are aware there's very big cracks in the road. Those cracks are filling up with grass and weeds. It's getting tall. I was wondering if we could get something done, you know, we could get some weed killer on them, maybe fill some cracks.
Yeah, right now, the main thing is to remove the grass and keep the grass under control. So our crew has been around this past week and has done some grass removal. I don't think that they've been down Wingate, certainly we can go look at that. But I don't see any reason why we can't, you know, get some of that under control. It's not a big deal.
Getting bad.
Yeah, it typically happens this time of year, and then like midsummer, it dies off because there's no rain, and then it might come back a little bit in the fall. But yeah, I get you. We'll see what we can do about that.
And then on the north side of Wingate, there's two, they're not right next to each other, but in two different locations. There's two, I would call them smaller potholes. They look like just the top layer of asphalt.
Okay?
Where if you could get them patched now, it's probably gonna save you a big headache from a bigger pothole down the road.
Okay.
There's two spots I seen that, you know, probably could take care of those pretty easily. Which is kind of surprising, the new roads already got potholes.
Yeah.
So Andy, are you calling ODOT?
I can if you wish. We obviously have talked to him. Sure.
Okay.
Sure, no problem.
And I know that it's been suggested before, I know Mick does it, he just takes the weed eater out and runs the weed eater in the road.
That's what we've been doing with
What people around our community
with-
does.
this past week's work.
Yeah, it's kind of but whatever, if you wanna have the guys do that. that
Well,
would be
it's
fine.
not just one spot, it's every 10 foot down the road,
Right.
the entire stretch of the
Right.
road.
You know,
It's-
it's all over town. So yeah,
We'll get him
Okay.
out there.
and you've got the two smaller potholes on North Wingate.
I've
as
noted
well.
that, yep.
I saw where it starts spraying for the mosquitoes too, haven't they?
Should be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often they do that?
once a month.
The mosquitoes, I think, are handling their heads.
Yeah, that's a joint effort, so that's every community around here.
The boys
So
sprayed
we-
for a lot of weeds, on those couple of streets going out.
Yeah, mhm.
Sprayed it.
Mhm.
How long does that last for?
What's that, the fogging? Mosquito fogging, pretty
It-
much goes throughout the summer, right?
Well, and it depends on how aggressive they are.
Yeah.
So I know a couple years ago, they did it well
They
into
fogged it.
October.
Yeah, they fogged
Yeah.
the living daylights out of it, so.
And it's not harmful, so if people
No,
are
no, no. It's,
thinking that there's,
Okay. Does anyone have anything else